Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. I'm Bill Horan, along with my co-host, Nassau Community College student Corey Kaufman, coming to you live, once again via Zoom and being socially distant as recommended.
Bill, we live and work on Long Island, so we sometimes forget that Long Island can be a place considered a tourist spot.
Corey, that's true. So let's meet the organization that's dedicated to promoting Long Island for things like tourism, meetings, conventions, and sporting events. Please say hello to Kristen Jarnagin, the CEO of Discover Long Island. Kristen, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Kristen, first of all, I hope everybody's doing well in your home. And tell us, have you been affected by the pandemic?
Thank you for asking. And I love that that's kind of how everyone greets everyone now is, how's your family? You know, it's really helped. One of the silver linings, I think we've all reprioritized what's important in life. And I really appreciate that. So thank you. My family is healthy and happy. I have a blended family. So I have 5 teenagers in my home. So it's been quite active and they're really bored. But other than that, and I keep telling them to go outside, but you know, I'm not successful in that, but yes. Thank you.
That's your job, right? You got to get people outside on Long Island. So
exactly.
That's what
I'm
we're selling.
Go to the beach.
There you go.
Down your phone.
Corey?
So tell us, what is Discover Long Island?
So, you know, I was listening to your intro and how you say, oh, we live here and we forget that some people come here. I'm like, people from tens of millions of people come from all over the globe. And it still surprises me that people aren't as familiar with our tourism industry here, but Discover Long Island is a private nonprofit. We are designated as the official tourism promotion agency for the region of Long Island. So we're contracted with both Suffolk and Nassau counties to promote Long Island tourism industry. And when I say I'm astounded, because of course people come, that's why we all live here. We all live here because of the great quality of life. We all pay the taxes here because it's a wonderful place to be. And that's what tourism is. You know, we have this mantra that we provide about tourism and its impact in the community. And it goes, when you create a place where people want to visit, you create a place where people want to live. And when you create a place where people want to live, you create a place where business has to be. And you create a place where business has to be, you create a place where people want to visit. And it's this whole thing, which it starts with a visit. It starts with promoting your destination and speaking positively about it and letting people know why it's wonderful. And then people come here and they want to, you know, rent summer houses and then eventually move and they fall in love and they want to move their business here. And it all creates jobs. And, you know, to the tune of a $6.1 billion annual industry here on Long Island. That's what tourism means.
Now, Kristen, when was Discover Long Island created?
So Discover Long Island, it used to be the Long Island Convention and Visitors Bureau and Sports Commission. That was the name. We're about 42 years old. So about 42 years ago, the Long Island Convention and Visitors Bureau and Sports Commission. I moved here just shy of 5 years ago from Arizona and took the position and immediately rebranded the organization to be Discover Long Island, which is a call to action. It's what we're here to do. We're here to inspire people to do that, not just for tourism, but you know, recently we've banded together all 8 IDAs for the first time ever for a business attraction marketing. Because when you discover Long Island, it definitely transcends tourism.
I have to say, when you said that other name, and I won't even try to remember it, I guess it has like 12 words in it. That in itself, and I commend you. I didn't know you were the one who did it, but you do. It's a call to action, discover, and Long Island, 3 words, and it says it all. And I don't know if that was hard or a contest, but
well, you know what? Thank you. It a lot. Believe it or not, a lot did go into that rebrand. We do everything we do is data driven and based on research. So we figured out who has the highest propensity to come to Long Island. What are they looking for? What kind of customer are they? And then we brand everything and we target our marketing very specifically to those people because we have very limited dollars. But most people around the country, and it's so funny now that I say that name, Discover Long Island Convention Visitor, everyone laughs. And I'm like, that was our name for 37 years and nobody laughed. So now people can't imagine that, you know, that's what we called ourselves. But most destinations across the country, when they rebranded from that Convention and Visitors Bureau, went to visit. So it's visit Phoenix, it's visit Syracuse, it's visit Dallas, it's visit Pittsburgh. Anywhere you go, they went to visit. And we really conscientiously did not do that here, because when we say discover Long Island, we know, based on what you're talking about today, in a normal year, 30% of our market share are Long Islanders. So we're not going to ask Long Islanders to visit Long Island. There's a lot to discover here, and we care about our residents, and we know that Long Islanders love their Long Island, and it was a real critical part of our rebrand, making sure that we included our local audience. And today, our local audience is our number one visitor.
When you say local audience, you mean the Long Island people themselves?
Long Islanders ourselves on a normal year are about 30% of our market share. But right now, as we're unable to welcome people from really outside, the immediate drive area, especially not international visitors right now, Long Islanders have become our number one visitor.
Hey, it's funny, because as you were saying that, I'm thinking, if we didn't live here, we'd come here for a vacation. Because you have the beaches, you have the golf courses, you have museums, you have so much. You're near a city, you're near other areas that you could drive to within 2 hours. And there's so much available to us. But because we're here, I don't think you realize, it's like you don't realize in your own home the benefits of it till you go away someplace, and then you miss your couch or your TV.
It's very typical, not just of Long Islanders, but of anywhere. I can't tell you how many Arizonans have never been to the Grand Canyon. It's very typical to take for granted what's in your backyard. But if you look at the east end of Long Island, the majority of residents there started as visitors. They came from Manhattan. Yeah. Exactly. So now that's how it works.
And we have so many things we can just throw out if we want to name drop or place drop. But again, we don't do it because it's so close. We have to go someplace far to think that that's a vacation. So.
Yeah, it's really and back to your comment, coming from an out of state, being a transplant and coming to promote tourism on Long Island, people are oftentimes ask me, like, what did you know about Long Island and how you come here to promote tourism? And I think the answer is that I actually see it from a visitor's perspective. I know how beautiful it is, how exciting it is, and I can tell you some of the challenges that we had here. And that's most people outside of the Northeast region, some of those names that we have, like the Hamptons, they don't know that the Hamptons are on Long Island. They've heard of the Hamptons, of course, everybody knows the Hamptons, but they think that, most people, when I left Arizona, I said, I'm going to go do tourism on Long Island. And they were like, what? I mean, no offense, but what is there on Long Island? And I'm like, well, the Hamptons. And they're like, oh my God, that's where those are at? They think that they're like by Martha's Vineyard or near the Cape somewhere, or, there's Catskills and Adirondacks, there's all these beautiful places. But because we don't say the Hamptons, Long Island, and we don't usually even say the Hamptons, New York, and Fire Island and Jones Beach and all of these, the Gold Coast Mansions, all of these wonderful names that we know and we drop locally have in the past not really been connected to the brand of Long Island. And so it's really an unknown product for most people across the country.
It just sounds like a middle section of Newsday one week where it's going to say what you don't know about Long Island could fill a book, and you could give them 20 or 25 questions, and I'm sure it teaches a great deal.
You are listening to My Hometown on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Corey Kaufman, along with Bill Horan, and today we're talking about an organization that is dedicated to promoting Long Island for things like tourism, meetings, conventions, and sporting events with our guest, Kristen Jarnagin, the CEO of Discover Long Island. Since the start of the pandemic, I assume that you've had to rethink some of your workflows and strategies. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, we changed everything. Literally everything has changed that we've done. I mean, typically, what we do for tourism, and I just want to say, because I know this is the hometown show, and it's really to Long Islanders. And so a lot of people don't like tourism, right? They don't like visitors. Visitors are annoying. They clog up the expressway and they take your favorite dinner reservation. I'm well aware of that. Okay. But the whole reason we promote tourism, and tourism is one of the most competitive industries in the world. If any ad you see running right now, they're almost all tourism ads, and you'll notice it now that I mention it. The reason why we do that is for the residents. Because when visitors come here, they're taxed on where they sleep, where they eat, where they shop, every time they get gas, everything they do, and their taxes stay locally here. And they come from outside the region, they drop their money, and then they leave, and we don't have to fill their potholes, and we don't have to educate them, and we don't have to provide any of those services. So, tourism has always existed for the residents. That's why when our initial strategy, our typical strategy is that we try to bring people from furthest away, because when they come, the further away they come, they stay longer and they spend more money. So, sure, we have 3 million people here on Long Island and we can do day trips, but that's what causes the infrastructure problems and the traffic and the crowds. And then the average day tripper spends about $60. When you come from overnight, you'll spend $250. When you come from an international market, you spend twice as much as that and you stay twice as long. And that's the revenue generation that keeps our taxes lower. So last year, tourism taxes on Long Island generated more than $740 million in local and state tax revenues. So as you can imagine, tourism, we're closed. We've been suffering for the last 3 months. And therefore, what's the headline today in Newsday? I'll read it to you. Grim Nassau sales tax forecast. And that's what it is. The sales tax, restaurants, retail, the malls, all of this, the shopping, the hotels, the dining, that comes from tourism. And it's when tourism is gone or hurting, we feel that loss of revenue immediately. And so right now, our biggest pivot during this time was to stop. We weren't welcoming any visitors. We basically became a resource for all of our local businesses, our hotels, to get them federal stimulus dollars to help with legal issues, to help them know what was available from financial aid and education and congressional meetings to tell people how they're suffering and to keep their doors open, and to navigate through the phases. I serve on both of the business recovery task forces for the counties, and it's been trying to just help our businesses educate what they need to prepare for reopening, for safety. We just launched a Be Safe pledge that our businesses can take that lets consumers know that they can be confident. So our goal has gone from marketing, how great Long Island is, to really helping our local businesses. But now we've got to get back into the welcoming back visitors so that we can once again bring back that sales tax revenue, because that's our primary job, is to generate that sales tax revenue. And without us doing it, we're going to continue to suffer as residents.
So I can see you really know the area obviously very well. This is what you do. But I'm sitting here listening and saying, I'm on Long Island all my life, and I didn't know what I'm learning in the last 10 minutes. So you're teaching me a lot, and I'm sure all of our listeners. You mentioned a Be Safe pledge. Now, what is that?
So thank you for asking about that. So one of the things we do during this time, we've been monitoring national traveler sentiment as well as resident sentiment, meaning what our travelers, how are they feeling about getting back out? What are their fears? What are their worries? What are they looking for? What would make them more susceptible to come out and enjoy the business? And then what are businesses, what do residents want? Do you even want visitors coming into your local restaurant? So everything we do is data driven, but what we really noticed is it's not just about opening your doors. We had businesses opening their doors in the second phase of dining, and people weren't coming. People are scared, and they don't know what they're going to experience, and they don't know which business cares about compliance and which business doesn't, and if they're going to be safe when they go there. So we took the initiative to launch what we're calling Be Safe. And so last year we launched our new branding campaign called Belong on Long Island. And so everything we do is surrounding that brand. And so Be Safe goes along with our brand, and it's CDC guidelines. And we ask businesses to take the pledge. And once they take the pledge, that they will follow these CDC guidelines. And that includes, hand sanitizer, testing your staff every shift, wearing masks, cleaning multiple times a day, and, these basic guidelines. And then once they do that, then they have access to free signage, free print quality downloadable signage that we've created that is consistent, that they can post in their window. And it's Believe in our commitment. And there's one that's Behave, as a guest. And it kind of all goes along with our brand. But the idea is to train the consumer so that when we have a cute little crab is like our little spokesperson, and he holds up a surfboard and it's like 6 feet, stay 6 feet, and the idea is to train the consumer when they see that sign, they can see it and know exactly that business prioritizes their safety and it hopefully helps the business and consumer.
I think that's great. I mean, I'm so impressed with that. I'll tell you for a few reasons, but who came up with that? Was that yours, or do you hire a separate marketing firm?
The pledge or the belong?
Be safe, and then the crab and everything else.
That we came up with that in-house. We do everything in-house. We designed it in-house. We have an in-house graphic designer. And, it's one of the things I wanted it to be clear and communicative with CDC guidelines, but we've been through so much that I want it to be fun and engage. We're tourism, right? So we should be fun. So I just thought of the surfboard and I was like, this would be fun. And using the be really is easy to say, behave, believe, be careful, all those things. So.
And I find, I'll tell you, me personally, that if someone is doing that as I go into their facility, their store, their restaurant, I have a great deal more confidence personally. If it's clean, the handle, if it's watching out for me, if it's distancing, whatever they're taking care of, then I feel that if they're doing that, what's going on in the kitchen is good. I know the food is fresh, or they're taking care of the products. It just gives me a lot more personal confidence. So it's more than just what might seem like a simple act or a little towel at the door or something like that. It kind of conveys an image and a culture that's going on behind that. So
100%. And you can go to the website, discoverlongisland.com at Be Safe, and you can see we actually have an interactive map where you can see the businesses that have taken this pledge. And they're all different kinds of businesses, not just tourism related, but any business that has gone and taken this pledge, and you can see where they're located on Long Island, and you know who to patronize, because our number one priority is our residents, keeping our residents safe and making sure that they understand who's going to prioritize their safety.
Great idea, and I compliment you for coming up with it.
So are there safe, open outdoor spaces we can visit even during the pandemic, things like beaches and the vineyards out east? Can you tell us about some of those and maybe some other ideas?
Sure. And we do, again, we have a lot of this information. It's all on our website, and we're putting out blogs constantly, and it's all over our social media channels. So I encourage you to follow Discover Long Island, on all those social media. And we're updating it daily because things are changing daily. But, outdoor dining, of course, is still one of the greatest opportunities that we have. In fact, during the first phase of this pandemic, when everything shut down, one of the things we did is we transitioned our marketing savvy into an inspirational message for Long Islanders. As we were all in quarantine, we put out this message, and we didn't want to say all in this together and everything else is saying. So we want it to be localized. So we came out with a hold fast video. And hold fast, as I'm sure you know, Bill, as a lifelong Long Islander, is a Mariner's phrase about putting your head down and seeing through the storm. And, we've been through storms before, and it was really inspirational. And as we came out of quarantine, one of the things, our newest video, which is on our website, and I think, again, it really resonates, it's called Renewed Gratitude. And I put that on everything I do. Hashtag, I went and got a mani-pedi yesterday for the first time. And I was like, renewed gratitude. I missed it. All the things that we took for granted every day, dining out, going out to eat and having service. And our renewed gratitude video, I think, is really inspirational. But the vineyards, to your point, we really struggled to get the vineyards and outdoor dining moved up into some of those earlier phases. And there's so much to see. And museums are starting to open up. Just yesterday, this week, we had Vanderbilt Museum grounds and Old Westbury Gardens, the grounds. Some of the grounds of these beautiful gardens and museums now, are opening up, and it's really going to help relieve some of the density we're seeing in our parks and our beaches. But it's summertime, and we want to get out there, and we want to have fun. And the hotels have always been open, by the way. Our hotels were considered essential throughout this whole process. We were hosting essential workers. And I got to tell you, if you're looking for a Long Island getaway this summer, you need to book now, because the hotels are filling up. And there's definitely a pent up demand for getting out there and seeing what we have to offer here.
Kristen, I have to say, I love that renewed gratitude, because I know in the past, every store has that little can on the counter. And if it was some college kids or high school kids, I would contribute. But I would pass it otherwise, to be honest. Now, almost every store I go in, if it's a neighborhood store, there's a little something that's going in there. It's not going to make them millionaires, but it will help get them through these times a little better. So renewed gratitude, and another winner there. What about, we keep hearing about virtual events. Have you been using this on Long Island? Are some of the businesses using this? What should we know about that?
Yeah, that's a great comment. We actually had some technology already on our website. Thank goodness that we had invested in prior to, which a lot of people are kind of like, why are you doing that? But we had 360-degree video tours that all of our businesses, when they're a partner of ours, we would send somebody out there and you could tour their facility. And a lot of people are kind of like, I don't know if that's good, it's expensive. And then as soon as this hit, we were like, thank goodness, because one of the things you talked about in the introduction is meetings and conventions. Meetings and conventions book years in advance. And so they need to book now for 2021, 2022, but they can't come here and do a site visit. So we started doing itineraries with 360-degree videos where you can see things. We put together itineraries for meeting planners where you can actually tour hotels and meeting facilities virtually. We started having Facebook Live events, which were really fun. We did some at the aquarium. We did some at the mansions, cooking demos. We had a Zumba class on there for Fit Fest. And we actually did an entire week of virtual events just recently surrounding the Belmont Stakes. The Belmont Stakes was the first time in history, as you know, that it was the first leg of the race. And there was a ton of excitement around it. So the entire, usually the first leg is the Kentucky Derby. Everyone has Kentucky Derby parties around the country. So we did a whole week of how to have a Long Island themed Belmont Stakes party. And it was all about rosé and New York pizza and lobster rolls. And it was so fun. And we got almost 500,000 impressions for the week of just doing that virtual tour.
Really? Wow, that's fantastic. And I'm going to say this just as someone who enjoys golf. We have some great golf courses on Long Island, and of all the things that may be costly around here, I think they're very fair to our residents and the people, the price-wise. So they're well-maintained, they're beautiful, and many are right on the water. And if you're here, if it's a couple who likes golf or the wife or the husband alone, to get out for a little time golfing is beautiful on Long Island.
Some of our golf courses are so amazing, and we were all set this year to go to Wisconsin because Long Island is actually hosting the Ryder Cup in 2024. Which is a global, it's like the Olympics of golf. It is, it's in Rome and then it's in Long Island, so
we're right up there with Rome.
Yeah, it's amazing that it's here. And so, those are things that obviously they're here because of our product that we have is really impeccable.
You are listening to My Hometown on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Corey Kaufman, along with Bill Horan. And today we're talking about an organization that is dedicated to promoting Long Island for things like tourism, meetings, conventions, and sporting events with our guest, Kristen Jarnagin, the CEO of Discover Long Island. So many of our businesses that are part of the tourism industry have to deal with a lot of people daily. Do those businesses think that these restrictions because of COVID are going to last in the long term, and what kind of changes have they been forced to make?
I think I applaud, I've been working so closely with our businesses, and more than 80% of tourism businesses on Long Island are actually small businesses. These are mom and pop stores in our downtowns that have been owned for Long Island generations. So this is not corporate global, tourism that you might be picturing. And the way that they've all adapted to try and, keep their employees safe and welcome and keep their guests safe. Everything from, again, tremendous signage, PPE, plexiglass everywhere. Really above and beyond. Our businesses care. They really care about us as Long Islanders, and they desperately need the clientele. And so, no one can risk not doing everything you can for the customer. And like you were saying, Bill, making sure that you feel safe when you go in there because you won't come back, and they know it. So they've changed everything, and it's been really, really difficult. And there's a lot of businesses that haven't reopened. The largest hotel on Long Island, the Marriott Uniondale, just reopened last week after being closed for months. And as you all read, our iconic Nassau Coliseum is closed indefinitely. So this is really, really having a tremendous impact, and our businesses are suffering, and they have suffered. But the one thing we can't afford to do is take a step backwards like we're seeing so many other places in the country. So opening up, and the way we've proceeded cautiously and carefully and making sure that we prioritize safety is what's going to keep us moving steps forward. And all of our businesses know that, and they're taking truly every precaution in order to make that possible for us to patronize them.
Kristen, it must be tough doing your job. Obviously, any time a job is difficult, but I imagine townships and organizations have had to change on the fly this summer, and you've been kind of at the brunt of it, saying to people, come for this, and wait a minute, it's off for 2 months or 3 days or 6 weeks or reduced crowds, etc. How has that changed some of the plans and things we're seeing?
You know, it has been a really challenging time, and I know everybody has suffered during this time, every industry and every business, and, you know, everybody's sacrificed. I think the hardest thing for me in our position is that, you know, I've basically been like a therapist, a bit on the front lines with these businesses and hearing the heartbreaking stories and hearing, you know, think about how many catering facilities are out there right now. The weddings, the bar mitzvahs, all the sweet 16s, the graduation parties. These are people's life events that they, to this, you know, we still don't know when they're going to be able to open and have those events again, and they can't plan anything, and do they cancel? And it's really day to day trying to just find out ways that we can help and be a resource. And, you know, our organization as a nonprofit that's contracted with both counties, we're funded by the hotel motel tax. So we're self-funded by our own industry, which is great because it's not, you know, it's not a resident tax in any way. But the problem is that, of course, hotel motel taxes are completely, you know, decimated. And of those taxes, so when you stay at a hotel in Long Island, you pay a 3% tax, which is about half of what you pay anywhere else in the country, by the way. That's the one tax that's low on Long Island.
I've heard that some places it's you can buy a car with the tax you're paying to stay a week.
So everywhere else you go, you as long as you're traveling, you're paying 15 to 17%. Here right. You're paying 3%. So we're not collecting it. But the thing is that my counterparts, my competitors in all those states, they have tens of millions of dollars in budget to then lure you as a customer. So I have, you know, hardly any money to lure people as a customer. In fact, Long Island, although we're second in New York State, only to New York City, again, with that $6.1 billion tourism spend, we are outspent in tourism promotion by Niagara, Buffalo, Lake Placid, Rochester. They all spend more money promoting tourism than we do. And it always makes me crazy because I'm like, we talk about all the things that we have on Long Island, and I'm supposed to communicate every inch and all the hidden gems and downtowns. Niagara has one attraction, and everybody knows what it looks like. And they spend $1.5 million more promoting that attraction than I do.
Before we wrap up, tell us once again to our audience, how can they get in touch and learn more about Discover Long Island?
So yeah, I definitely appreciate this opportunity. DiscoverLongIsland.com. We have tons of great information on how you can stay local, have a great summer in your own backyard, and keep that tax revenue local so that it benefits us as residents.
And the website?
The website is DiscoverLongIsland.com, and you can also follow us, Discover Long Island, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Pinterest. We're all over the place.
And we all want to enjoy a nice staycation, and you see what Kristen's doing for you. So let's help Long Island get through this, and we'll all be better off in the future for it. Kristen, thanks so much. You've educated us. You've told us so much about Long Island. As a lifelong Long Islander, I've learned more today than in the last 30 years. So thank you. We'd like our audience to know we've been talking to Kristen Jarnagin. She's the CEO of Discover Long Island. Kristen, please know that WHPC will continue to spread the good word. And thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with Corey Kaufman. Thanks for listening to this week's special edition of My Hometown.
We like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to WHPC at ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.